What happens when self-discipline collides with defiance? See how one man transformed disorder into an opportunity for change. It was meant to be an ordinary evening. The golden light of the setting sun colored the sky above a quiet park in Savannah, Georgia, casting long shadows over joggers, families, and friends enjoying their time together. Among them sat Terence, a man who never sought attention, yet often drew it. Seated on a worn-out bench, he sipped from a water bottle, his calm nature standing in stark contrast to the park's lively atmosphere. Terence never rushed through life. He believed its beauty lay in quiet, simple moments. But peace is never guaranteed. From the corner of his eye, he noticed something. Terence noticed a group of young men hanging around the basketball court. Their laughter had a sharp, mocking edge. It wasn't friendly, but meant to humiliate. He recognized that kind of laughter, the kind that wasn't about humor but about targeting someone. Today, that target was him. "Yo, big man," one of them called out, loud enough to silence the surrounding chatter. The leader, a wiry guy with a shaved head, pointed at Terence with exaggerated gestures. "What's up with the heavyweight division over there? Ain't it gym day?" The group erupted into laughter, feeding off their leader's energy. Terence didn't flinch. He'd been in this situation too many times before. His thick skin wasn't just a phrase. It was a shield built over years of ridicule. But even armor doesn't make you immune to the blows. He thought about ignoring them, letting it slide as just another act of ignorance. But something in the air shifted, an unspoken tension that told him brushing it off wouldn't be enough this time. What he didn't know was how far this would go, or how much of himself he'd have to reveal. At first glance, Terence seemed like an average middle-aged man in his early 40s, carrying extra weight and an easygoing demeanor. But there was a quiet strength about him, one that hinted at a past deeper than most would expect. In his 20s, he had been a competitive martial artist, excelling in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, a discipline that required both physical power and mental precision. But life had been unkind. After losing his wife in a car accident, grief consumed him. He turned to food for comfort, abandoned his training, and slowly drifted away from the life he once knew. The lean, disciplined fighter became a man who moved slower, spoke less, and carried a quiet sorrow. But deep inside, his discipline never truly faded. To outsiders, his walks in the park and his occasional laughter at a cafe made him seem like a man at peace. But today would prove that some things never leave you. What they didn't see were the quiet battles Terence fought every day. In the early mornings, he practiced alone in his garage, rolling out a mat and drilling techniques he had learned decades ago. At night, he shadowboxed in the dim light, sweat dripping down his face, not fighting opponents, but the ghosts of his past. The park was more than just a place to sit for Terence. It was his refuge. Here, he could breathe, watch children play, listen to the steady rhythm of joggers' footsteps, and remember what peace felt like. But not everyone sought the same kind of peace. Savannah had its charm, but trouble still lurked in its corners. Lately, the local news had been filled with reports of a group of young men stirring up problems. They weren't hardened criminals, just reckless kids who found confidence in their numbers and thrived on making others feel small. They preyed on those they assumed wouldn't fight back. And to them, Terence must have looked like an easy target, just a big man sitting alone, moving slowly. But they were about to realize just how wrong they were. Their laughter grew louder as they moved toward him. There were 4 of them, each feeding off the energy of the others. Their leader, full of false confidence, strutted forward, his voice slicing through the park's peaceful hum. "Hey, big man! You deaf or just ignoring us?" he called out, smirking as his friends laughed behind him. Terence slowly looked up, his face unreadable. He took a sip from his water bottle and placed it beside him. Years ago he might have snapped back, but experience had taught him that reacting on impulse only gave people like this what they wanted. "I heard you," he said calmly, his voice steady. "What do you want?" The leader grinned. "What do we want?" "Well, maybe some tips on how to bulk up like you. That's a lot of weight to carry around, man. How do you even get off the couch?" The group burst into laughter, their mocking voices cutting through the air. Terrence didn't react. He had been here before. But then, one of them, a wiry teen with a backward baseball cap, stepped forward and gave him a light shove on the shoulder. "You're in our park, man," the boy sneered. "Maybe you should keep walking before we make you."